Hello and welcome to another COVID vlog. um, so we're all adapting. Today I had my third, I don't know, fourth ESL class remotely. It's getting easier to do it because we're finding the resources and trying to adapt a little bit better. In the meantime, things are bleak out there again. Still, I mean, not again, still, right? I mean, yesterday I heard that we had the greatest number of deaths in the U.S. Ever. Like it was like 900 or close to 900 deaths, and I don't know the numbers for today because I've been busy staying away from the news. I'm not trying to stay away from the news, but I've been working, so it's hard um, to concentrate on watching news. I did see a little bit of a CNN, and I saw Chris Cuomo like locked up in his basement trying to do his show. But it was not during his show; it was a show at 10 o'clock for I think Don Lemon. But I watched like maybe what 5 minutes of it, and he looked healthy. So the guy works out a lot, and he's a healthy guy. So hopefully he'll recover. I think I mentioned this already yesterday, so I don't want to bore you with any of that. Um, Now, all this whole pandemic thing reminds me of something that happened in Brazil, but now it was not a pandemic; it was more of an epidemic in the northeast of dengue fever. I remember that almost everybody I know caught dengue fever. Now, those of you who don't know what dengue fever is, it's a tropical disease transmitted by mosquitoes, and it's more common in the tropical countries. I've never heard of dengue fever in the America in North America. I mean, maybe there was a case of people traveling and they caught dengue fever in the tropics and came here sick, but it's not something you hear people like getting sick of dengue fever. But when I was in Brazil, I think it was in 1996 or 1997, something like that. I can't recall right now. I remember that everybody caught dengue fever, myself included. Now, again, there's a mild dengue fever and there's a serious one. The mild one, you just feel like somebody beat you up. It's basically how it is. You feel like somebody like beat the crap out of you and everything hurts. I was able to keep on working, so I was walking slow. I was walking like I was 80 years old, but I was able to. But most like a lot of people that I know, they were in bed. There was this professor from the Federal University of Ceará. What was his name? He's still alive, by the way. His name is Dr. Luis Campos. He's also one of the directors of the Language Institute where I worked in Brazil. He's still there, from last I've heard, and must be in his 90s by now. But he prided himself on being the guy who never called in sick. Right? He never had an absence, never called in sick his entire career. Well, dengue fever made him stay home sick, and it was in the news. So this professor with a 50-year career um, is now finally called in sick after 50 years teaching or something like that. So it's like, so I felt sorry for him because he is this really nice guy. I actually know him. We haven't been in touch for obvious reasons, but I've heard he's still healthy and he's still there and he's still working. That's all I know. Anyway, so let's go on to the song. Um, some of you might know that for a while I was in this bossa nova band, and we played a lot of songs by Antonio Carlos Jobim. Antonio Carlos Jobim is what you would get like the Mozart and the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, and blend it all together. That's the Brazilian Beatle, because this guy wrote many songs through his career. He died relatively young, at 63 years old. Ironically, in the same hospital where John Lennon died, where John was shot, and he was taken to Roosevelt Hospital. And Jobim had a surgery at the exact same hospital. He died during surgery. And it was also December the 8th, but different years. John was in 1980, and if I'm not mistaken, Antonio Carlos Jobim was in 1994. It was a very sad day for Brazil. I remember I had a wedding that day, and the only thing people talked about was that Tom Jobim died. Right? People there call him Tom because Tom in Brazil is not Thomas, is short for Antonio. So Antonio Carlos Jobim, Tom Jobim, right? I mean, you don't see any, like if you look around and you see um, something about Jobim, it's Tom Jobim. Like if you go to the airport in Rio, the airport in Rio is named after him. Although they say Antonio Carlos Jobim International Airport, when you're about to land in Rio, they say welcome to Tom Jobim Airport because nobody ever calls Antonio, right? That's how it was. He was a very popular man. He was like a larger than life figure, really. I mean, I never got to meet him. I actually did see him once because my family we went to lunch at his favorite bar, and he happened to be drinking a beer there, but nobody approached him. Everybody left him alone. And at the time, I had no idea who he was. But then somebody pointed out, "Look, that's Tom Jobim." And I was like this American kid saying, "Tom who?" Like, of course, years later, I discovered who he was, and I have a huge admiration for his work today. Same thing with João Gilberto, who we lost last year. I mean, I ran into him in an elevator once, but I had no idea who he was at the time. I was a teenager. So, what do teenagers know about bossa nova? Maybe some do, but this teenager did not know anything. Right, so we were going to play a song. Now, I'm going to, like I told you before, I'm not much of a guitar player, and I don't know all the complicated chords, but I'm a much better bass player than I am a guitar player. So today I'm going to have with a backing track sing to you. I'm going to play on my acoustic bass, so I don't need plugged in or anything. I was going to do You Got to Hide Your Love Away by the Beatles, but the thing is that yesterday Brian made the exact same song on his daily vlog thing. So I'm going to wait a few days to do that song so people don't say, oh, you're doing the same song Brian May did. Of course, his audience is much bigger than mine. I mean, I've been looking at the clicks on this one. And it's like, okay. Hello, 3 people who see me. Okay. Well, anyway, so let's put on the backing track here. Okay, hold on a second. Here we go. Vou te contar, meus olhos já não podem ver coisas que só o coração pode entender. Fundamental é mesmo o amor, é impossível ser feliz sozinho. O resto é mar, e tudo que eu não sei contar são coisas lindas que eu tenho pra te dar. Vem de mansinho a brisa e me diz, é impossível ser feliz sozinho. Da primeira vez era a cidade, da primeira cais e a eternidade. Agora eu já sei da onda que seguiu no mar e das estrelas que eu temo de contar. O amor te deixa surpreender enquanto a noite vem nos envolver. Okay, so with the backing of, because this is supposed to be the solos, but I'm not going to do solos. So with the backing of this beautiful, I don't know who's playing it, it sounds beautiful though. And so I'll leave you here and be well. If you like it, subscribe, throw a comment and say any comment, and I'll see you all tomorrow, okay? Be safe, be well, good night.